The regularly scheduled meeting of the Town Council of the Town of Southern Shores for August the 6th, 2013 is in session. I invite you to join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Since our last meeting, we have lost two distinguished citizens in our community, one of whom is a resident of Toth, Mr. Glenn Miller, has served this community for many years in retirement. Father of the Toth Fire Department, many years on the Oregon Inlet Commission, and for many years known as the Mayor of Duck. That was before they had a town government. All of his friends are missing Glenn. We also lost Jim Graham, one of our own. Jim lived on Duckwiz Drive. He was a 25 or maybe 30-year resident of Southern Shores and was a wheel horse in the early days of the Civic Association and Boat Club. So Jim is going to, during our moment of silence, let's honor these two great citizens, great volunteers, and let's also honor all the men and women, both in uniform and in civilian capacity, who are serving us around the world. Join me in a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Council, we have a brief agenda tonight. It's been made briefer because the need for a closed session, since the clerk and I put the agenda together, the need for the closed session has, shall we say, dissipated, or maybe overtaken by events is a better thing. That's the only thing I have to call to your attention with respect to the agenda. Otherwise, what is your pleasure?
I move we accept the agenda as modified.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We have an agenda. I'm pleased to have in the audience tonight two distinguished visitors from Raleigh. My grandson, Brian, and my granddaughter, Amy Lynn Denny. They're students of local government, and they came to observe, see how we do it. Very pleased they're here. You have your consent agenda, Council.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. It's before I say anything more, Council, I'd like to address Council. I have been watching carefully the replay of the video of our meetings, and I must say that it is absolutely necessary for us to speak directly into the microphone as I'm speaking in order to be heard. So I encourage you, please, when you speak directly into the microphone. With that said, one of the great pleasures that we have council is recognizing our volunteers for the great work that they do. And tonight, we are recognizing what I consider one of the greatest volunteers that we've had in Southern Shores in a long time, Mr. Robert Palumbo. And I have a certificate here, and if you'll join me, I'll say a few words, and I think Wes has a camera. I could read this, but I just want to talk about it. Oh, the microphone. We have to get on the microphone. Thank you. Bob Palumbo served on the planning board for how many years? 8 or 10? And he's decided that he should leave that, and as I talk, you'll understand why. He's also been on the Build a Bridge, Preserve Our Roads Committee. From the very beginning, he was one of our first appointments by council to that operation, and he's still serving on that. In addition to that, he is president of the Interfaith Community Outreach Organization, which is a major support to the people in need in both Dare County and Currituck County. And since he doesn't have enough to do, he's also serving on the executive board of the North Carolina chapter of the AARP. So Bob, I just wanted to say to you that we're deeply appreciative, not only of what you've done for the town, but what you do for the community. And congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And we have a certificate there that says all that stuff that I said.
Appreciate it.
You want to say something?
I just appreciate this recognition, and I do appreciate serving the community. That it is very rewarding for me, and I hope I can continue to do a good job as I continue with all of my efforts. Thank you all very much.
Report from the police department. Oh, special recognition. Chief Cole.
Thank you. Tonight, it is my privilege, and this is one of the things that I enjoy the most, is introducing our newest police officer to the town of Southern Shores, Ryan Jones. Come on up front. A little bit of background. Ryan was born and raised in Buffalo, New York, which is only about 4 hours from where I was born and raised, so that's not why I hired him though. And it seems each time we hire one, they keep getting younger and younger, or else I'm getting older and older. Ryan moved to Pittsburgh. He also attended Slippery Rock University, where he attained a master's degree in resource management. He is also EMT certified. Don't get any ideas, fire department. He's also a Swiftwater Rescue certified. And he also is a whitewater kayak instructor. He and his fiancee, Caitlin, moved here to Southern Shores just about a year ago. She is a physical therapist at Albemarle Hospital in Elizabeth City. Ryan attended and graduated from the BLET in the spring of this year with top honors. And they are currently living in Elizabeth City because that's where the academy is being held, and that's where his fiancee resides. They hope to, by fall, be residing somewhere in Southern Shores. And I guess there's a wedding planned sometime next year, but there's no date. So I introduce to you Ryan Jones.
Come meet you. Brian. Brian, you've joined a very strong police force. And with that list of qualifications the chief just read up, I think it's going to become a stronger force with your presence. So we welcome you. We're very pleased to have you.
You're all set? Told you. I was just kidding about the speech. Okay. Next, Officer Jeremy Hemmerwright has attained the rank of Master Patrol Officer. Just to give you an idea of what you have to have as far as eligibility, you have to be a senior patrol officer in good standing and have served as a senior patrol officer for at least 4 years. You also must have received no written warnings, suspensions, demotions, or any unsatisfactory performance or detrimental conduct within the last 12 months. You also have to have a minimum of 7 years' experience, 4 of those consecutively with the town of Southern Shores, and you must also accrue up to a minimum of 400 hours of in-service specialized training in order to be recognized and considered for this promotion. Eligible officers must also have completed supervisory training for another 40 hours of criminal investigation training and officer safety training and street officer survival techniques. This also has to be approved by both of our supervisors, the sergeants and the lieutenant, and it is passed up to me. And Jeremy has satisfied all of those requirements and is definitely worthy of this promotion. Jeremy? Jeremy is also here with his wife, Alex, his daughter, Camilla, and their other daughter, who hasn't been born yet, but will. They're expecting another girl. Jeremy? Master Patrol Officer, congratulations.
Jeremy, we congratulate you on achieving this.
Yes.
We're very proud to have you.
Congratulations.
She's so cute.
Hey, sweetheart, will you shake hands now? She
No.
wouldn't-
Nope.
She wouldn't have anything to do with me before the meeting either.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. May we hear from the town planner, Mr. Haskell.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I have a brief report for you for the month of July. There were 3 zoning permits issued, 31 building permits issued, which consisted of 2 new single-family dwellings, 1 addition, 1 remodel, and 27 others. There were 98 building inspections conducted at 49 different job sites. There are currently 8 single-family dwellings and 1 bank under construction. And the total amount of fees collected in July was $7,555.30. Any questions?
So currently how many houses are being constructed in town? Has it changed?
Currently is 8. At one point, we were up to 12.
At our last meeting, we discussed the zoning text amendment, a certain zoning text amendment. Could you outline to council the schedule for that, what we plan to do?
The zoning text amendment with respect to maintenance and town facilities, town-owned facilities.
Yes.
That application will be reviewed by the planning board at the August 19th meeting, I believe. And following their recommendation, I will come to you with their recommendation and request that you set a public hearing. Time would allow for it to be set in early September for your first September meeting.
We will have time to set that public hearing for the first meeting in September.
Correct,
Is that correct?
correct.
How is the response for the committee for the Albemarle Bike Path?
We've received, we ran a request for volunteers in the town's media release of broadcast email, and at this point, we have 10 interested citizens. So that's a pretty good turnaround. I was pleased with that. We may or may not run another one based on that number, as well as, I think we're looking at maybe 3 members from town staff participating.
Anything else? Madam? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Police Department, Chief Cole.
Thank you. The month of July, total calls for service, we had 1,111. Some of the highlights, business checks, officer conducted 320 of those. 70 residence checks. We had 3 mutual aid, 10 traffic direct, responded to 36 suspicious condition calls. We had 14 alarms that officers responded to. They conducted 158 traffic stops, and we had 71 extra patrols. Some of the breakdowns, actual incidents and investigations, we had a total of 33. As you can see to the right, some of the breakdowns, there were 2 assaults. We had 5 breaking and entering, 10 larcenies, 1 alcohol violation. Also with vandalism, we had 3 of those, and we had 3 drug violations. Just a note on these drug violations, you'll also see it reflected in the citations. We have traffic checks, they're called checkpoints. And we do those sporadically, and once in a while we'll get complaints from mostly locals. But I will tell you that those 3 drug arrests were from a traffic checkpoint in one of the local neighborhoods, and we took quite a few drugs off of 3 different individuals that were driving through the checkpoint. So they are definitely worth having, and we will continue to have them. We had 11 arrests for the month of July. Breakdown of the arrest, 1 for breaking and entering, 3 larcenies. We had 1 DWI. We had 1 sex offense, 1 liquor violation, and 3 were traffic related, and that's the drug related traffic offenses. Officers handed out 63 citations. As you can see, 19 of those were for speeding, 2 alcohol. Also handed out another 70 warning citations. The highest was another 40 for speeding. Ordinance violations, our community resource officer has been very busy. 121 violations. Some of the breakdown, there were 87 that failed to display their parking permit. 13 were parked in restricted areas, and 16 were parked in a right-of-way. And we had 2 dogs at large that were also issued. And officers responded to 6 motor vehicle accidents in July. Any questions?
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you mean by extra patrols?
Extra patrols, for example, someone may call and say there was a suspicious vehicle. Another thing that we do is, for example, with Mo Utley, who just passed away recently, we beef up patrols around his residence until they get the estate settled, those types of things.
Okay.
So that's what we try to do.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Anything else?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Speeding violations, is there a breakdown as to resident versus non-resident?
Yes, but I don't have that with me. I could.
Did you hazard a guess? Do you remember? I don't want to put you on the spot.
I'm gonna tell you that it's probably pretty close to 50-50. A lot of them are cutting through, but they're locals trying to beat the traffic, unfortunately. A lot of them we've been running on Sea Oats and Hickory and those general areas on the weekends. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Had a note from Chief Harvey, he's unable to be with us tonight, so we will not have a report from the fire department. The planning board is the next on the agenda, but I don't see the chairman. I assume there's no report.
Wes said there's one.
No report? Ross Mitchell, the president of the Southern Shore Civic Association, also called in, unable to attend, and he's asked his across-the-street neighbor, Councilman Lahan, to report for him.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ross asked me to report that the Civic Association has met, a matter of fact, it's exceeded its membership goals for the year already here in August, and they don't usually do that, but they've exceeded the 1,800 membership goal already. They are working on the next year's budget and tell everyone that there's going to be no dues increase. So we can look forward to the same kind of dues that we've had in the Civic Association for as long as I've been here, and I think for the last 20 years it's been about the same. Also asked to remind everyone that they have a new Adopt a Crossover program that's in effect. If anyone wants to volunteer their time to go out and clean sand or maybe drive a nail or two on a board on a crosswalk, or to keep the pathways clear of debris and vegetation, we are taking volunteers to do that. And you can contact the office at, the phone number is 261-8617, or on the email address at ssca@obxbeach.net. And that's Ross's report that he phoned in to me.
Thank you, sir. And Leo Holland, the president of the Chickasaw Properties Association, also called in absent, and he's asked Chris Nason to come and report for him. Hello, Chris. Welcome, sir.
Not a whole lot to report. In our last meeting, we had a little bit of graffiti, which probably showed up on the previous chart on one of our picnic tables.
Can you lift the mic a little bit?
Absolutely. So we had a little bit of graffiti on some of the picnic tables. That has since been cleaned. A lot of maintenance items, trees around Gravy Pond. We've been trying to put some signs up to prohibit vehicle use on some of the common paths, as well as just to clean up your trash in some of the local parks, particularly Trinity Park. So that's been something we've been working on. In addition, we're also working on getting the word out on the proper parking passes for the Chickahawk parking lot. That it's not the same as the Southern Shores parking lot, and getting that education process going. And I guess that's about it. So it's a pretty quiet month.
Any questions, Chris? Thank you, sir. Do we have public comment? I would remind public commenters that there's a time limit of 3 minutes per person. And come to the mic and introduce yourself and talk to us. The first person we have is David Parker. David lives on North Dogwood Trail, and he's been with us before.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and councilmen and visitors. I'm here because I'm a resident of Southern Shores, have been now for 5 years. Came down the first time in 1978. So I've seen a lot of changes over the years, but my wife and I decided to make Southern Shores our retirement home. I live right on the corner. As most of you can remember, I've been up on the podium before. I live on the corner of East Dogwood and North Dogwood. We cut the tree down, which I was opposed of, and so were all of my neighbors. That just opened up chaos for the traffic. Everybody said it was a hazard, but it wasn't, in my opinion. My opinion doesn't matter, but I'm going to voice my opinion tonight. The traffic this year has not been as bad for the visitors as it has been in the past 2 years, but there's still thousands of automobiles that come north on Dogwood, go east on Dogwood, and then over Hickory to Sea Oats or some way to try to avoid North 12 into Duck. 1 out of 1,000 do not stop at the stop signs coming or going. It's just a continuous flow. I've called in to the police department, I've talked to a couple officers, and I've been told that we don't get any money for citations issued for running a stop sign. It goes to the school. But that doesn't cover our children when they get hit. Now, we haven't had any children get hit, but it's something that needs to be addressed. It's not going to get better, it's going to get worse. When I go to bed at night, the lights are right into my windows. It's terrible. I have offered to put up a nice wall, a fence, but the building codes won't allow me to go up high enough to block the lights. So I don't know, I'm just asking for help for myself and my neighbors. A lot of neighbors can't come out to these meetings because of the time element. And I think I've said enough before I say something I'll be ashamed of. But I need some help on that intersection. We need a police officer there on Saturday. I haven't seen one there all summer. I've given permission to the police department to park in my driveway and in my backyard entranceway, but I haven't seen any help yet from that either. Sorry, Mr. Cole, but thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. We're always ready to hear from our people. Second speaker is Mr. Frank Tulin of East Street Trail.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. I'm here to talk about Beach Tree Trail. I was walking along with my wife 2 weeks ago, I guess, and there was a hole in the ground, and I twisted my ankle. Didn't hurt myself, but I reported to Larry and through an email, and I think it was the next day, they came out and repaired the hole. However, there are indentations around that hole. If you're driving your car about 25 miles an hour, you're going to bounce out of the seat. And it's unfair because it might hurt some child, might run into a dog or an animal. And I would like to offer my suggestion that they come and look at that hole. It's getting bigger each year. I've only been here 3 years, so I'm not really complaining. I'm just offering this up as an accident to happen. Looking for some help to see if you can come out and repair that hole. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank. What is the location of the hole?
161.
It's about 161.
Is it the one at 161? We ordinarily don't respond to public comment, but in this case, if you're talking about the failure at 161, is that correct, sir?
I don't know the exact address where it's located, but it's down from my house about, I would say, approximately 100 meters.
Yeah, and that is on our streets repair list for this fall. That entire area will be repaired.
Thank you.
Council, we have no old business, so we turn to the new business section. And we turn to our town manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a proposal to the council for approval of the unit prices for storm debris removal for the 3 backup debris contractors that are available to the town of Southern Shores, the town of Duck, and the town of Nags Head. They are RPC Contracting, Inc., O'Brien's Response Management, Inc., and Bird Brothers Emergency Services, Inc. These are the backups that are available to us in the case that there's an overload of some reason from our primary, which is Crowder Gulf of Alabama. So each year, we're required to actually approve the standard rates that are proposed by these contractors so that we can have this on record. In the case we are activating them, we'll have that for FEMA auditing purposes. And if there are any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer. This is the exact same proposal terms that were put out each year and which the council considered last year as well.
Have we ever used O'Brien's response management?
No, sir, not to my knowledge, not in my tenure.
To your knowledge, as either of the other towns? We've always been able to rely on Crowder Gulf to provide all the knowledge we need to conform to FEMA requirements. Am I correct in that?
We used Crowder Gulf the last declared storm, and prior to that, our primary contractor was DRC out of Mobile, Alabama. And so we've only used Crowder Gulf once, but they are our primary. We had no problems in that use.
Council, do you have any questions on these? I see a lot of negative shaking of the head. I think it requires a motion to approve, and I move approval of the memorandum of understanding for equipment rates and unit prices for storm debris removal as presented by the tab manager under tab 2. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. You have it. Town manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As part of my report to the council tonight, my first item that I would like to report to you is that we did receive bids for the street repair list that was put out in accordance with the priorities adopted by council previously, and of course in accordance with your budget ordinance. There were 15 street repairs on that CIP list. We were able to put out 13 of those in a lump group. 2 of them were withheld, and 2 of them are North Dune Loop. Those 2 are North Dune Loop and the section on North Dogwood Trail. North Dune Loop requiring an escarpment work to prevent escarpment, and North Dogwood Trail is a stormwater repair, and they need more design survey data to engineer the solution. So those 2 will be put out separately. The 13 we did put out, the low bid came in and was awarded to Barnhill Contracting. In accordance with your budget ordinance, we will be signing a contract with Barnhill very shortly, hopefully this week or next week, so that they can get started. The low bid from Barnhill was $80,630 for those 13 repairs. So as soon as we sign the contract, hopefully we'll be moving ahead with those. And we're moving ahead, of course, with the other 2 as fast as we can. The surveyors have already begun their work to get the data we need.
80,630?
That's correct.
I don't remember our engineering estimate, but it seems to me it's a very favorable bid.
That is very favorable, Mr. Mayor, and as soon as the other 2 are put out, we'll know a difference in the 2 figures for the repair portion at least. The second item that I wanted to put out, the Honeysuckle rebuild project is almost ready to close out. There's 1 driveway left that we're doing work on and some more cleanup items on the punch list. So we should be able to close that out within the next 10 days, 10, 14 days, hopefully. And finally, as part of my report tonight, I've handed out to you some findings. You instructed me to talk to the cell tower location company, Velocitel, that we had discussion on several meetings ago. I was asked to get back with Velocitel. They had an interest in locating a cell tower here on the town hall property. I was able to get them to give me a proposed site plan for not only the rear of the town hall complex that you saw previously, and that is one of these site plan drawings that was handed out earlier, but also we're now able to get a drawing for a cell tower as it would be proposed to be located in the front yard of Town Hall. On that particular site plan, I think the north arrow is probably not pointing in the right direction. However, you can see that the two flagpoles there delineated by number 4 on the drawing. The cell tower there is just adjacent to those flagpoles. The service utility building has to be within 100 feet of the cell tower. So the location there shows you approximately 100 feet away, and it is situated to the side of Town Hall. It could be masked by plantings, et cetera, but it can't go around the corner, I'm told, technically. And I'm not a technical expert on this, and I'm gonna try to give you as much information as I can. Also, on the screen, I wanted to show you again what this would look like. The first picture shows an image if you were traveling north on US 158, approaching that intersection, you would see what that tower would look like if you look towards the town hall complex. Again, it's 120 feet tall and 4 feet in diameter at the base. It would be exactly like the tower that is proposed for the Southern Shore Civic Association property at the Triangle Park. Can you flip the next slide? Okay. This is if you were driving from the Wright Brothers Memorial Bridge on US 158 headed east. I think in the vicinity of approximately the entranceway to the Harris Teeter Walmart shopping center there. And you can see what a 120-foot tower would look like on the town hall property there. This location is further back, I believe, on 158, back towards the elementary school on the left, and that's what it would look like from that distance. This is further south on 158 from Bennett Street in Kitty Hawk. You can see what it would look like on the town hall complex. And this is on Duck Road, approximately the Skyline Road and Ocean Boulevard intersection. The Triangle Park, if you're at grade level, standing, I guess 6 feet eye level, this image does not show that you could see it from that eye level. Is that it? Okay. That's where we are. Again, the proposal of compensation from this company so far is $2,000 per month, which is approximately market, but I have not negotiated any further. I did not feel like I was in a position to counteroffer back until I heard from council as a whole as to whether you are in fact interested in us proceeding with talks about putting this type of structure on the town hall complex. So and one other note, recall that if it's located at the rear of the property, in that drawing, it would require a change to the town code because of its location and reference to the right-of-way, street right-of-way. It would not require a change in the code if you located it in the front yard. So I'm at the council's pleasure and direction on this particular matter.
I suspect that each member of council has some opinion to express on this. You mind if I go first?
No.
Please do.
Go ahead.
The proposed location back here is in violation of the zoning text amendment, in violation of our zoning ordinance. And as I look at it and the requirements, I don't see how it could be fitted in, even if we wanted it, to the verification. And the location on our front lawn, in front of our town hall, is an extreme violation, to me, of common sense. It would be a terrible vision for people to be facing when they enter our town from any direction. And I have no interest in the town manager pursuing it. Who's next?
I can go next. I agree with what you said, but in addition, what worries me on the front of the building are those electric wires back there. And we talk about the fall zone. We don't have a very good fall zone, so one of the things we could just consider is saying, hey, let's just wait and take a look at what the flagpole looks like up at SSCA and decide if we want to discuss it then. But I don't, at this point in time, I have no desire to pursue this.
Mr. Kowalski?
I'll go last. I'll go last.
Oh.
No,
Okay. I agree with both the mayor and Mayor Pro Tem. Perhaps a little different angle, and that's purely from aesthetics. Every visitor that comes to the Outer Banks from the north or the northwest is going to see that as they come across the bridge. It's going to be their focal point. And it's just a matter of location. There are other places in town where you could place something like that and it wouldn't be so obtrusive. But from a purely aesthetic standpoint, which I hate to say because I make a living in technology, I have an interest in better cell service in the area. From a point of aesthetics, I couldn't vote for it.
I agree with everyone. This proposal for the front lawn with the thing stuck on the side, I think is just out of the question. It would not be aesthetically acceptable at all to me. And even having one in the backyard, the same proposed height, again, I don't think it's necessary that we pursue it. And I don't know where I'm supposed to talk about it or not, but this cell tower is one that is in sight of an already existing AT&T tower. So I really question technically the need for having such a tower to increase their facilities.
The reason why I want to go last, because I have the latest House Bill 664, which I've been following along with the with Wes regarding what's happened to this, and it passed. And so I think that, first of all, I agree with all of you. I think to put a cell phone tower in front of this building over there along 2 flagpoles at 126 feet high is absurd. We can reject it based upon zoning issues, land use, public safety. We can even whip a few little aesthetics things in it if we have aesthetics as our inbuilt into our land use plan, et cetera. But pulling it out, we can't do that. But I think everything else okay. So I'm in total agreement that none of this is really functional, applicable, and even desirable.
Is that enough of a message, Town Manager?
Yes, sir, it is, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Next item.
Mr. Mayor, that's my report tonight.
Thank you very much. Town Attorney, Mr. Ben Gallup.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At the last meeting, the council directed Mr. Rasko and myself to negotiate and prepare an easement to facilitate the town's dredging project over 108 Duckwoods Drive. We've obtained that easement from the property owners. A copy has been provided to you, and I would need a motion for you to accept that easement, and we'll have it recorded.
I move that we accept the easement as presented to us.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion here?
I would just like to understand completely what this entitles us to just to be, totally understand what we're dealing with. So when they're asked, we know what the answers might be.
It entitles us to exactly what it says, and what it's bounded to is the use is transfer dredging material as we
Correct.
planned
Right.
over 108 Duckwoods Drive between October 1st, 2013 and February 15th, I
And the-
believe,
and
2014.
And its relationship to the covenants that exist in that area?
It has no direct relationship to the covenants that exist in the area.
So the covenants cannot be applied to this?
We will be dealing with the covenants through a zoning text amendment, which the town planner has told us we will be seeing next month. Am I
Okay.
correct?
Zoning text amendment doesn't apply to the covenants, it only applies to the zoning ordinance.
I know.
But that would be coming before you all, or the planning board, August 19th, coming before you all for public hearing, most likely at the first meeting of September.
That's fine.
Did that help?
Yep. Thank you.
But this easement is for the transfer station only. Any other questions? Do we have a motion?
We have moved and it's been
Do we
seconded.
have a second?
You can call the question.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, that's all I have.
Council, I have one item that I want to speak to tonight. Well, I don't want to speak to it. I am going to request work with the clerk and put on our agenda for our next meeting our rules of procedure. We haven't looked at them in a long time, and I have a feeling that we have a duty to review them based on our experience to improve them, if they can be improved. So I would like to put that on the agenda for next meeting. Our rules of procedure. That's all I have. Mayor Pro Tem?
I only have one thing. As you know, I'm on the tourism board, and the tourism board is currently working with a consulting group, the same consulting group that did the Town of Ducks Town Park planning and boardwalk, and we're working on it to come up with a plan for laying out, from a landscaping and from a trafficking point of view, the event site down in Nags Head, was formerly known as the Windmill Point. And so there's about 3 options we're working on, and within the next month or 2, we'll have a plan to present to the public. That's all.
Councilman Kowalski?
I have nothing.
Councilman Sanders?
Nothing tonight, sir.
I have nothing, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
In that event, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned.